Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue exploring 3D capital, an undervalued asset manager with holdings in AI, blockchain, biotech, junior resources that are really starting to see the benefit as we dive into the interest rate sensitivity, some of these holdings, and so much more. With Sheldon, the CEO, joining as always. First and foremost, welcome back, sir.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Always a pleasure to get you on, brother, especially during these fascinating times. And I think the conversation of choice today is not only that small caps are starting to have a bit of a comeback, but we saw the second interest rate cut here in Canada. It's likely we're going to see a rate cut, I presume, in the States here with the next Federal Reserve meeting, I think coming up in September. But I wouldn't mind kind of getting your broad view on being somebody that's involved with so many companies. How do you see interest rates affecting them? And do you think we're going to get a benefit as the interest rates continue to cut?
Yeah, so I think we're definitely in a loosening mode as opposed to a hawkish mode, which was really, getting all the headlines, fear of recession and so forth. I think that there is slowing. There was slowing in the numbers that came out today in the U.S. on housing sales, and without question, we're seeing NASDAQ fall, which I think is almost a sense that the economy is slowing. Hopefully, the job numbers have reflected that as well. So I think that there's a cycle changing right now, and I believe the Russell 2000 has indicated, over the last 30 days that it's broken out. It's a small cap index. I follow Tom Lee a lot. I was actually on a panel with him in Asia, and he's very bullish, and he's been very good and accurate. He's got big numbers on where Bitcoin can go, but he also thinks that the Russell 2000 could increase as much as 40% in the next 60 to 90 days. So that's small cap. That is totally the focus of 3D across industries. And I think we're going to see small cap, which has a different definition in Canada than it does in the US, and in terms of market size. I think it's the trickle down where sell a bit of Microsoft or Amazon, and then go into, lower market cap companies, which have potential for greater percentage appreciation. So I believe we're in the early days of this transition right now.
No, I definitely appreciate the insights here as well. And speaking of some of your holdings, I mean, last time we spoke off the live recording, we were talking about your natural hydrogen pick here, QIMC, which is seeing some of the benefit. Is rallying a little bit here, but do you want to talk about and give some insight on the hydrogen front? I know I feel like it's an underrated topic in kind of the clean energy transition. And there's a few hydrogen plays out there, but not really that many. And this one is taking kind of an interesting twist on the natural side, which I'm sure people don't really understand. But you want to give a little insight on that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we've been looking at hydrogen projects for quite some time. They're very complex scientifically. They all require very acute capital expenditures for equipment and processing technology to actually achieve hydrogen. And it's the holy grail if we achieve it, but it's also extremely expensive to get to. But what is happening right now, and we didn't even really know much about this 6 months ago, is that hydrogen can be found in commercial quantities under the ground like natural gas. And if that's the case, it's a game changer for hydrogen. And we've started to do a lot of research. We stumbled on this company that I know is gas prone from years ago when I invested in natural gas companies in Quebec, Canada. But the government came out and basically put a ban on fracking, and it killed that business. But in situ, there's a lot of gas. So the Quebec government's done a lot of work it's very scientific of how hydrogen accumulates in the ground. And we're pretty optimistic that we may find some good commercial quantities. But we've started a work program there. And we've actually had, I've heard from management, a number of big companies have reached out and are very interested in the project. So this to me is confirmation that there's interest in naturally occurring hydrogen. And we're going to hear, I think, a lot more about it in the coming months.
I definitely appreciate the insight on that. And just to finish up, I wouldn't mind broad viewing a little bit more of the portfolio as well. Neurable is going to be kicking off here soon with people that are unaware, this is a headset that can actually read your brain waves and actually put inputs into your devices, which is super fascinating, especially with the onslaught of what's going on with Neuralink and some of Elon Musk's companies. But do you want to just kind of tell us what's been going on from the broad standpoint? How do you feel about where you guys currently sit, your holdings, anything we should be paying attention to?
Yeah, I mean, we've obviously have a number of companies that we've had interviewed on our YouTube channel. We are about to do two more that we think are going to be very, very interesting companies that I think people are going to be very excited about. One's AI, and the other one's in quantum computing. It's our first entry into the quantum computing space, and we think we have found a company that could be a game changer. So I'm not going to steal any thunder, but we're very excited about that. Yes, Neurable is launching over the course of this summer their headsets. I've ordered a pair. I'm very looking forward to using them, and I think that the market's going to be extremely excited over that. We're also very interested in digital currencies. We have a significant amount of exposure to that. We own Bitcoin. We're big, big believers in Bitcoin and where that could go after obviously the approval of the ETF by BlackRock, and then yesterday for Ethereum as well. So we believe that it's going to actually, have a very significant position in the financial asset spectrum. And the game changer will be when the first central bank actually says, okay, maybe we should have some of it in our reserves. So all this is happening at a time, again, affected by lower interest rates where, investors are going to seek outsized returns because the amount they're going to get investing in T-bills, treasury bills, is going to decline and, not going to really help people beat inflation. And inflation is one aspect. There's also the U.S. debasement that occurs every year by printing money that is kind of the hidden inflation. So your actual wealth is probably declining 10% a year on top of inflation, but it's hidden, so it's not that obvious. It's very complex to calculate. And again, another reason why one should own Bitcoin and gold, another asset class that we're also quite involved in.
Yeah, and I'll put the link to 3D Capital's channel down in the description below for anybody that wants to go check it out. I'd also recommend looking at money market funds where all those high interest rates are benefiting, just capital sitting there. There's trillions of dollars that have been added that'll likely flow back into the market. And, it's going to be neat to see how that money gets allocated over time as the interest rate cut cycle begins. But we will pass that question off to the viewers. We'd love to know what you think in that comment section below, and definitely consider subscribing for news and updates. And Catalyst, as it comes into play, we'll bring it to you here. But on that, as always, we look forward to catching you in the next one.